Welcome back to War Thunder Weekly News. This week we had a data mine that could lead to some really interesting stuff, and the event vehicles were available for everyone who took part in the event. So hit that subscribe button, let's see what was in this data mine. The focus was the air-to-air missiles, how they function, their stats, and all that stuff. And you can read it, and there's some pretty interesting things here. Most interesting of all was that there are stats, incorrect stats, of an AIM-9E, which is a later development of the AIM-9, that commonly found its way onto the A-10, the F-4, the F-15, the F-16, and F-111. Now, I doubt we're going to get F-15, 16, 111, but A-10 has been highly requested, and it fits into the era that we are now heading into. But so does the F4. Now I'm leaning towards that we're going to see the F4, precisely the F4C. And I say this because I've brought this up in the past videos. I'll bring it up again. A long time ago, back in February of 2018, there was a leak list of a bunch of modern tanks that came true, but along with this leak list was 4 aircraft: MiG-19, MiG-21, F-100D, and the F-4C. Now, all the tanks happened to come true, but we never saw any of these aircraft. What I'd assumed you'd have realized by now, in the last patch we got the F-100D and the MiG-19. So that just leaves, for this leak list that happened a year ago, the F-4C and the MiG-21. And now we have files of a missile that would go onto the F-4C. So I'm rather certain that we're going to start seeing this aircraft. Now, I think it is also important to note that while data mines do commonly show what's about to come, a lot of times things will be in the files for a very long time, so it's really only speculation of what this could mean. It's possible maybe that we'll see both of them. Of the two, I personally would like to see the A-10 a bit more, because it would be less of an alteration to what we've seen in the game. The A-10, I believe, isn't even supersonic. It could carry a lot of ordnance, and would definitely murder tanks, but it doesn't go Mach 2, and it doesn't really add anything that we haven't seen already into game. The winter event is just about over, and if you've been keeping up with it, you should have 4 new vehicles to take out. The one I liked the least is the Su-85A. I found it to be very bad. The gun is of course good, because it's a gun from a T-34-85, but the chassis is very slow and unarmored. And while this can work sometimes at other tiers, at 4.0, you happen to run into a lot of newly added fast spaghetti boys that are easily able to flank you and murder you with their 20mm cannon. I don't think the vehicle should be down tiered at all, of course, or up tiered. I think it's fine where it's at. I just think it's not a very good vehicle overall, and perhaps that's why it's an event vehicle. My favorite vehicle of the event is the T-30. At its announcement, I was quite worried about its low penetration, only being able to pen 197 maximum and being at 6.7. But upon playing the thing, I found that that does not matter, as you have a very nice gun, can overmatch armor easily, and almost one-shot just about anything because the size of your shell. And if you don't one-shot them, you're gonna disable them heavily. And the armor, and I swear the model itself is exactly the same as the T-29, which is very good armor for its tier. The only downside I'd say is its long reload, but that hasn't stopped me getting from 7-kill games in it. The MB152C1 is a vehicle that one of my moderators on Discord really dislikes, but I'm rather alright with it. Its cannons aren't so great, but it still has 2 20mm cannons. Sitting at 2.3, it's an alright fighter. What I do have against it, though, is that it should have been in the regular tree, as this was a very common fighter in the French Air Force. And on the French air tree, there are no 2.7 aircraft. So why this is a event vehicle, I don't know. I think Gaijin just kind of was lazy on putting it into the tree, and then they needed some event vehicles, so they just took whatever there was laying around in the files and threw it in there. The Focke-Wulf 180C, so far I really like it, but it has some extreme problems, because it seems the flight model is not correct to any sort of aircraft, and the guns are also like weird. If you were to fire only your cannons, the 30 cal and 20mm on the right side, it would shoot, not the cannons. It's a bit of a funny setup, but in the end of the day, the aircraft still does function. It flies. You can shoot stuff with it. And I've had some pretty good games in it. Does it stand out in any way? Nah. No, I haven't really played many of the higher tier Focke-Wulfs, so I can't make a good comparison. But compared to other high tier aircraft of its caliber, I'd say it's pretty on par. Nothing extremely special besides those amazing looking pipes coming out of the side. If only flames came out of those, then it'd be more awesome looking. Some of the new Italian vehicles have been performing really well, making the Italian tree very sought after. One in particular, the Centauro, has been performing very well. If you've ever come up against it, it's very fast, it is hard to kill, and it has a, in my opinion, decent gun. All coming to you at very nice low battle rating of 7.7. Now, in many people's annoyance of killing the thing, they have discovered two things about it. First off, there's a bug with its ammo racks where they will not explode.
Enemy forces have captured a zone.
You can destroy the ammo, shoot as much as you want, but the vehicle will still be functioning. Now this bug has already been submitted and hopefully will be corrected in the future, but another one had come up. It seems that penetrating the armor, a shell does not have its fuse triggered. APHE shells, their fuses are not triggered, making them function like regular solid shot. Now you might be thinking, well yeah, that's because it has a very thin armor, too thin to the point where the shell does not even realize it's penetrating armor because the fuse isn't that sensitive. But if you take some shells like the 29K's APHE shell, which has a fuse sensitivity of 10 millimeters, and shoot it from the front or the side and not hit any of the components inside, the shell will go straight through. However, if you take that same shell and shoot the side of a, say, Chi-Ha, which has 25mm sides, the shell will detonate inside the tank right after entering, as its delay is 0.15 meters. Now, most bugs I wouldn't donate a whole lot of time to, as they are bugs and most likely will be fixed, but this one in particular is rather egregious, as it makes the vehicle a whole lot harder to kill, and you're going to be fighting a lot of them because it's a very cool new tank that people really want to take out. So instead of just complaining about it, I'm going to tell you what you want to do if you're firing APHE. Hit either the turret where all the people are stored or one of the components in the tank. That should detonate the shell. HESH, HE, and heat still function, though with heat you're going to want to be careful because it will bounce off the upper front plate. And despite the bugs, you're still going to run into a lot of shots that do no damage because it's too thick to have hull break, but still thin enough for lots of AP shells to just pass right through. And heat's always kind of sucked for quite some time now. So really, just aim for the turret. You should really, I don't want to say expect any one-shot kills, but able to damage it a whole lot more. Hopefully once these bugs are fixed, we can discuss whether it should stay at 7.7 or be raised or lowered. There were also some changelog updates, but nothing really was substantial in them. So how about on a interesting closing note, on the War Thunder page there is, of course you've probably seen it, the background of F-100s flying by. But if you change the language to Russian, it changes to a MiG-19 flying by. Interesting little fact. Anyways, if you have any comments or concerns, you can hit me up down below or on my Discord. If you've liked this video, hit the like button. If you didn't like the video, don't hit the like button. If you want to see more, subscribe. I make news videos every weekend. I like to stream on Fridays, and I like to make random videos throughout the week. So hit that bell icon to be notified anytime I upload anything.
say